you guys about today is the braided line that I use. Every single one of my rods is spooled with the same brand. Airpro, spider wire, pretty much every one of the big name brands out there I've tried. And then I was on Amazon one day looking for more braided line. I had got some more rods and reel combos and everything else, and I didn't have enough braid to spool them up with. So one of the suggested things on there was braid called FishingSir. And I was like, another China color. But I didn't have a whole lot of money left that month after buying those rod and reel combos. Okay? Same problem I'm sure a lot of you all run into. I was like, you know what the hell? For the $8 or $9 or something, that whatever the spools cost, I figured I'll try it. If it sucks, I'm not out very much money. So I bought, I think it was 2 packages of 50 pound. These are like 150 yards, enough to spool and have a little bit left over. The low profile bait casters that I had bought, you know. So I got it. Everything seemed good. Didn't have a whole bunch of color bleed off into my hands when I was, you know, spooling it up onto the reels. The diameter is actually a little bit smaller than, say, Power Pro. And then I started using it. And it was 2 rods that I had put those on. I had no issues with castability, no issues with wind knots. Seemed more than strong enough. The 50 pound that I was using, I was dragging, I think, Carolina rig on the bottom and jigs and things like that, bass fishing. And I wasn't having issues with break-offs. I wasn't having issues with the abrasion, rubbing on all the rocks and the nasty fish structure and everything else that we have in this lake here. So I was like, oh, this stuff's pretty good. So the next month I went on, found that FishingSir braid again, and I started ordering big spools of it. This is a 500 yard spool of 50 pound braid. This cost me like, I think, $15. The price has gone up a little bit since then. They've come out with the God line is the new stuff. This is the older stuff, this label. And the God line is a little bit more expensive. It is a little smoother, a little bit more of a round profile, still doesn't bleed out on your hands, still seems to have really, really good knot strength, abrasion resistance, break resistance, everything. I mean, it's a pretty freaking good line for cheap China line. So I was kind of curious. So I went online and I started researching all the different braid companies. And come to find out, there's really only like 4 or 5 factories in the world that make braid. Well, there's 20, 30 different brands of braid. So to me, that means these factories are churning out all this braid, and for the most part, I'm willing to bet that for the majority of these brands, there's no difference. It's the same braid coming off the same spools at the factory. And the only difference is what sticker they put on it at the end of the assembly line. Now that being said, I'm sure like the Siguar, Tanzan, or I think that's what their braid is called, is probably a little bit better. It's probably made in a different factory. Am I going to pay $60 or $80 per spool for a braid line? No, I'm cheap. I'd rather spend my money on a cool new reel or some new tackle or the gas money to get to someplace interesting to go fish. You know, because I get tired of fishing in the same spot. So I bought more of this, and I kept buying more of this. And I found them on Facebook, you know, one of those little suggested ad things on the side. So I wrote them, and I was like, y'all make a really, really good braid. I'd like to do a bulk buy on it, you know, because I'm buying a lot of it, you know. I was replacing all of my older braid and stuff with all the FishingSir stuff. And I was buying more rods and reels, particularly some heavier ocean gear, so I needed strictly with braiding. So the company wrote me back, and they're like, yes, would you consider a pro staff position? And that way you get a discount on product. I was like, well, you know, the whole pro staff thing is kind of, what it's evolved into is really crappy in my opinion. I wasn't that interested, but at the same time, I'm cheap. Notice this is a recurring theme here. I'm cheap. So I was like, you know what the hell? I'll go for it. So I became pro staff for them. And pretty quickly realized that I was the only pro staff for them. They didn't have a pro staff program. I was like, okay, all right, China factory team. I got some good friends of mine. Awesome fishermen, good promoters, understand the social media thing and all that. I need some help. Can I bring them on as pro staff? They're like, oh, hell yeah, you know. Of course, you know, they're getting more sales out. Of course, they're all down. So I brought on 3, 4 more people, you know, good friends of mine, and started managing the pro staff team for them. I'm telling you all this, you know, full disclosure, you know, if you look on my profile, I'm sponsored by FishingSir. But this way, you guys have an idea of how I came to be sponsored. So, you know, it's all going good. I've got, you know, a couple YouTubers promoting us. I've got, you know, my buddies and a couple other people that I knew via online only now promoting FishingSir Braided line. And they've got a whole line of other stuff too. Their factory makes lures and bags and a couple small spinning reels and just a whole slew of things, right? So it's all well and good, you know, pro staff's going good, we're putting up some good posts, putting up some good videos, Instagram's blowing up, and the factory team comes to me and says, hey, this is working really well. I'm like, well, yeah, I told you, these guys are good at what they do, you know, I didn't bring on just a bunch of freaking bums. They're like, well, we need somebody to manage our brand in the U.S. I said, okay, so what does that entail? Well, you know, on top of managing the pro staff team, we need you to reach out to tackle shops and places that are going to buy our product. I said, okay, so what's in it for me? They're like, well, we'll pay you every month. I was like, pay me every month? That's, you know, because I'm retired. I can't go work overtime and have more money, you know. I was like, huh, I can buy more fishing stuff. I can go on some more adventures. I'm already doing it anyways. What the hell? You might as well pay me for it. So, next thing I know, in the span of a few months, I went from consumer to pro staff director to U.S. rep for this company in a few months. The things that I get myself into. But that way, you know, full disclosure, I am sponsored by FishingSir. That being said, the only reason that I'm sponsored by FishingSir is I bought a crap ton of their product and I really liked it before I even came on staff with them. You know, the biggest problem I see with pro staff nowadays is, you know, a company put out, hey, we need 120 pro staff. Send me your name and your email address and your pro staff. That's all well and good. I guarantee at least half those people have never even used that product until they got that discount code and bought some of it so they could show it in Instagram and Facebook posts and everything else. The whole pro staff industry has gone to hell in my opinion, but that's a whole other rant for another day. Just so y'all know, full disclosure, sponsored by FishingSir. That being said, phenomenal product. I really like this braid. It's cheap, which checks a big box for me because, you know, I'm cheap. I can get a bunch of different pound tests, anywhere from 12 pound to, I think it goes up to 120. I don't ever buy more than 80 though. I can get it in 1,000-yard spools. So I can just spool up a whole bunch of reels. You know, my biggest problem with these is you spool up a reel and now you got 20, 30 yards left on it. Well, that was a freaking waste. Now you got to chuck 20 or 30 yards, you know. So I started buying it in the 500 and the 1,000-yard spools. Like, this is smaller diameter. This is 20-pound test. But this is 1,000 yards? No, 1,000 meters. So it's 1,094 yards of braided line. Okay? This is like $15 or $20 on the Amazon site, FishingSir's store on Amazon. I'll But that's freaking awesome. It's just as good or better than any of the other braid companies out there. Except maybe, you know, the really higher end ones I haven't tried. I just won't spend that kind of money on fishing line, you know. So whether it's better than those, I don't know. But for most of what you and I are buying, this is just as good. And it's significantly cheaper. So my recommendation, go to Amazon, click my link down below, buy this line. It's cheap. It's good. It will do everything you need braided line to do and keep money in your pocket. Alright? Tight lines, guys.